Resistance is the thing that stops us from doing what we want to do. We may have mental resistance, negative thought patterns, self-doubt, internal criticism, emotional resistance, stress, anxiety, fear, doubt, worry, sadness, anger, shame, frustration, lack of trust, feels really uncomfortable. Resistance can be created from our own current circumstances, past experiences, trauma, our opinions, and our belief of ourselves and our abilities. And that resistance could be ancestral resistance that has been projected onto you on this is just how it is. We take on this to feel loved and accepted. We are now acting, interacting, and reacting based from this belief system, this perspective, and this emotion that we have about the thing. We can choose relief and have a different experience. What we've been taught in the past, whatever has been projected onto us, does not have to be our truth. We can choose something different. The opposite of resistance is alignment. When we are aligned to our authentic, confident selves, we have little to no resistance. Alignment is relaxed, chilled, feeling safe to be your authentic self. It can feel peaceful, feel excited, happy. There's no pressure, calm, comfortable, and confident. So where in life do you feel like you have the least resistance, where you have confidence? Awareness is the first step on the path of empowerment. Once we become aware what we've got going on at a mental, emotional, and physical level, then it's much more effective and efficient for us to transform and move through low confidence, resistance. Look at your resistance. Ask yourself the question, what must I believe is true about myself to experience or feel this resistance that I'm feeling and experiencing? Some answers that you may get: I must believe that I'm not good enough. I must believe that it's not safe for me. What stories, perspectives, and opinions of yourself, of ourselves, are we practicing? The physical, mental, emotional unit is so powerful. Whenever you go to do something, that story pops up and creates resistance around that thing. How do you talk to yourself? What's the relationship that you have with yourself? Have you observed how other people in your family talk to themselves, and now that's how you talk to yourself? Is that beneficial for you and the people around you to communicate with the self in that way? Can you treat yourself with more compassion, kindness, and love like you would a friend or a family member that you love and respect? A relationship with the self, with ourselves, is the most important relationship that we ever have. So if we can view ourselves with love and compassion and respect and empathy and validation, we can create such a beautiful relationship with ourselves. And the self, ourself, heals and integrates and transforms because we're no longer hating on ourselves. We no longer believe that our truth has to be what someone else made it or is dependent on this thing that happened to us, that our truth actually is what we decide that it's going to be. How many of us have felt like we are loved conditionally, like we have to be human doings instead of human beings, like we have to do well in life, we have to do well in school, we have to be good boys or girls, we have to stay within the parameters, you have to do X, Y, and Z, follow the rules. If we feel like we're conditionally loved, then we'll never feel good enough. We may never feel lovable. We may never feel worthy of good experiences, positive experiences. Is a baby born worthy of love? Is a baby born good enough just as it is? Right? It doesn't have to try and prove itself immediately. No, it just is. It's lovable, it's worthy, and it's good enough just because it is. So what happens as we get older, as we grow up, we're usually projected onto by others, or we usually have negative experiences which makes us feel like we're unworthy and we're not good enough and we're unlovable. But are we really unworthy, unlovable, and not good enough? Or have we just picked up this programming? I believe that human beings are worthy and good enough and lovable, and we get to decide that we are. We get to remember that we are. There's no stone tablets. There's no commandments anywhere in the world or in this universe that says so-and-so is unlovable, so-and-so is unworthy, this person's not good enough, this culture is not good enough, this group of people is unworthy. We get to decide. We may be told, we may have been made to feel like we're not good enough and we're unworthy. That is someone else's projection, usually coming from somebody who does not feel that they themselves are good enough or they themselves are worthy or lovable. How can people who feel unlovable, how can people who feel not good enough, and how can people who feel unworthy show other people what those things really feel like? What lovable feels like, what worthiness feels like, what good enoughness feels like. Many of our ancestors, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, have experienced a lot of trauma, and that ancestral trauma is being passed down to us through the genome and through programming. They may feel unworthy, they may feel not good enough, they may feel unlovable. Is that really our truth? If you were to think about a pet or a loved one, or a child or a family member, someone who you really love, are they good enough? Are they worthy of your love? Are they lovable? Probably your answer to those questions would be yes. So why are you not? Why do we believe that we are not lovable, good enough, or worthy? And it's usually because we have been made to feel that way or have felt that way sometime in our past, and now it's become part of our programming, become our baseline. The subconscious has logged it away, and now it's playing like a broken record whenever we make decisions, whenever we act, interact and react with people and the world around us. We automatically go into places feeling like we're not good enough. I have a fear of making mistakes. Then doing a live call like this used to be very triggering. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. Even though I've been doing this work for a very long time, I still felt not good enough. And I had to really have a conversation with myself. Iona, what is good enough? You have experience, you have life experience, you have experience of doing this work. That feeling dissipates once I have that conversation with myself, with the self. Learning what unconditional love feels like, or learning what feeling good enough feels like. We're going to experience contrast, we're going to experience challenges. But if we can come from a place of our baseline, come be more relaxed, more in alignment, more tapped into our authentic, confident selves, where we feel good enough, we feel worthy, we feel lovable, we know that we're available for positive, good things. The challenges and the contrast, it's really interesting to experience these things when you're living from that place. It's different. Because when we experience challenges and contrast from a place of resistance, it's hell. But when we can experience our contrasts and our challenges from an aligned place, we're more understanding, we're more compassionate. It may mean that we can move through it quicker. It may mean that we are available to reach out for help more than we were before, because asking for help doesn't feel so resistant anymore. We get to decide what we put up with. We get to decide what we are available for. Are you available for this resistance, for these stories? Are we available for viewing and seeing ourselves with compassion and love and kindness, like we would a loved one? We're taught to beat up on ourselves and be mean to ourselves. But that doesn't benefit anyone. It certainly doesn't benefit anyone around us. What we do to ourselves sends a message. If we treat ourselves with respect and become available for good experiences, no longer available for crappy ones, that is what we're teaching everyone else around us. So it's really, really powerful.